Now, any big global sports brand has to constantly reinvent itself as it markets to consumers who I would suggest are assailed constantly with choice. So, how does Adidas and its Originals line take up the challenge? Well, the secret we're going to hear is all in print and photography, among other things, as we talk to Fabrizia Degli Esposti, who represents the brand in Cape Town. Fabrizia, welcome and thank you very much for talking to us. First of all, I want a sense, if I can, of Adidas Originals and where it fits in to the biggest sports brand that most of us know.
Well, as you said, Adidas Performance is the brand that everybody knows, and unfortunately we still haven't quite got on board, or as South Africans we still haven't yet seen that there's an Adidas Original side to the brand, which is very much steeped in the lifestyle and also the heritage, the sports style heritage of the brand. So when you're on the field, Adidas Performance; when you're off the field, it's Adidas Originals.
Why would it have been important for an iconic sports brand like Adidas to go into this particular market segment? What was the thinking behind it?
Adidas Original stands for three very special things, and anything that we produce for Adidas Originals, we keep this ethos in mind, and anything that we create is steeped in creativity, originality and authenticity. That has a very strong lifestyle side to it, and it plays in a lifestyle arena, and it plays in arts and entertainment, music, photography, print, design. It's only a natural progression.
Now, in order to market to the particular Originals segment, you have to be clever, you have to be smart, and I think most importantly, you have to be authentic. One of the ways in which you've done this is with something called the Adidas Originals Area 3 broadsheet. I have a copy of it in front of me. What's the thinking behind this particular marketing strategy?
Well, how it all started is we created Area 3, which is a multi-purpose venue based in the Maboneng precinct, one of the most up-and-coming urban rejuvenation areas in downtown Joburg. And we created this space that we could use for brand-owned initiatives such as product launches, fashion shows, curated exhibitions, anything that is centered around lifestyle and those three tiers of creativity, authenticity and originality. That's very much based in downtown Joburg. So how were we going to reach people not in Joburg that were still wanting to know about the brand and wanting to be a part of the brand and what it stands for? So we decided to create two extensions to the brand, one of them being the website and blog, which is very much focused on product news, availability of product in South Africa, also events and anything related to the brand. And then we created the broadsheet. And that's a quarterly broadsheet. We're in our third issue now, which I think might be the one that you've got in your hand. We're in a print run of approximately 3,500 copies, and that's distributed to 100 outlets around South Africa, predominantly in Johannesburg, and then also in Durban, Cape Town, and a couple in the Eastern Cape. And
just give me a sense of the type of content that we might see in this particular publication.
We could be waxing lyrical about product across all corners and sides of the broadsheet, and we have featured product in the broadsheet. However, what we've also done is we've given the people that we've worked with, amazing up-and-coming artists, musicians, designers, photographers, we've given them a platform, and it's almost a tip of the hat to those people that are the creative minds behind the campaigns and behind the photo shoots and the designs that we put together for the brand.
Thank you very much for joining us. A very interesting insight all about authenticity. Now, we're mightily impressed with the new Lurie's Call to Action campaign. The theme is Create Effect by the McCann Agency, which says true creativity evokes an emotional response. Emotion felt is a connection made, says the agency. And so the challenge to the industry is to create with the intention of having an effect. It's a simple idea, it's clever, it works. Enough said. And more advertising news in brief. The agency Metropolitan Republic's work on the Wimpy Braille Burger campaign, earning them a page in the Cannes Lions Game Changers book. The book pays homage to those groundbreaking ideas that revolutionized the industry as a whole. Now, heavy rains in Gauteng, we hear, have exacerbated the theft of Soweto billboards because they're durable and waterproof. So we were wondering if there is a creative solution to the problem. Well, someone who's been applying his mind to the issue is Tatenda Chiweshe from the company Media Trace. Welcome. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you.
First of all, I guess this was something to be expected. People were getting wet and they saw a solution.
Yes, it's inevitable that within marginalized communities, if you see a solution, you will take it. And the availability of billboards widely on the streets, on bridges, makes it very easy. It's very accessible.
And what you did a little bit of investigating, and you also found that bits of these billboards, cutouts, were actually being sold openly in markets.
Yes, I'll take, for example, at the Dube Metro Rail Station, we actually saw a vendor having them folded and selling it per square meter. Right next to him was another vendor who had bought the material and was using it to cover his wares. And so it's that prevalent, it's open.
And Tatenda, did you get an idea of what sort of price these bits of billboard were fetching?
We didn't feel that we were able to actually start policing. It was an area we weren't comfortable.
I want to talk to you about policing in just a second, but on one hand, you have to respect the entrepreneurship and people finding a solution to a need, but the reality is it's a criminal act, though, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
I mean, it affects the brands that you're monitoring.
Yes, it's basically taking money out of somebody's pocket. The biggest challenge is that the Metro Police have not been trained to identify billboard material as possible contraband. So if they saw a person walking...
But what's to train? I mean, it's fairly obvious. I mean, there's a piece of durable, waterproof plastic or whatever it is, and, there's a brand on it. Surely, that's a billboard. It's not difficult. You don't need training, do you?
Because it's not sold in the open market as you would sell, say, laptops. The perception is, I don't know where it comes from, so how can I know it came from an illegal place?
Yeah. Do you think there is an opportunity here for brands and for media owners and maybe even the creative industry itself, to find a solution that benefits the brand and also the community when something like this happens?
Well, firstly, BP has taken great strides. They use their old billboards to recycle and provide school bags, roofing materials, etc. But what happens in West Africa a lot of the time is that the brands themselves actually provide this direct to strategic vendors and houses that have road frontage, so that the brand is vicariously
to use the
promoted.
dwelling itself as a billboard.
Yes, and by in so doing, actually provide that material so that the owner of the dwelling actually has got a material reason to engage with the brand. And that gives you untold exposure.
It's clever because, I mean, it's the brand, it's also the word of mouth that comes from it.
Yes.
So there's the creative solution.
And the social equity.
Maybe a challenge to the advertising and branding industry. Very quickly, let's talk about the billboard industry in South Africa generally. Your job is to monitor the effectiveness, to see whether the brands themselves are actually getting what they paid for. It's a difficult industry to monitor and also to regulate, though, isn't it?
The biggest challenge within monitoring the industry is that you have to actually physically visit each billboard. There's no other way of getting the data. The additional challenge is that billboards are a form of narrowcasting. So whereas you get uniformity of delivery on a newspaper or a print or TV advert across a person in Hammanskraal or Soweto will see the exact same advert with the same quality. So you have to look at each billboard within its own merits before you take a blanket view.
I need a very quick answer to this in conclusion, Tatenda. Are brands being exploited in this respect? You measure them, you visit all of these billboards. Are they getting what they paid for by and large? Or is there a lot of abuse within this media platform?
I wouldn't call it abuse. The issue is that there's not enough information. And as you know, information is the basis of a good decision. That's why we started the business.
Thank you very much for joining us, and good luck. Tatenda Chiweshe, the company is called Media Trace. Coming up on the program, the brand union agency's Wally Krantz. He's the worldwide creative director. He's going to talk to us about the power of typography in advertising and branding.
News that moves. ENCA.com.